Yarara, ya, yara. Ya, 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 yara, yara. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, yara. Yarara, ya, yara. Ya, 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 yara, yara. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ah, ya. Ah, ya, ya. Ah, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, ya. Ah, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, ya. Yarara. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, ya. Yarara. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, yarara. Ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Yarara. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Alara, ya. Ah, ya, ya. Ya, ya, ya. Ya, ya. Ya, ra, ra. Ya, ra, 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 ra. Ya, ra, ra. Boker Tov. Good morning. Today is July 18, 2018, and for me it's a very, very special day. Today, 24 years ago, a bomb exploded in the AMIA, the main organization building of the Jewish community of Argentina. It was a pogrom. It was an attack on organized Jewish life in Argentina. And 85 people were killed. Still nobody was brought to justice. And a dear friend, Susie Wolinski-Kramer, the mother of Marianela, of Claudia and Marcela, the wife of Rabbi Angel Kramer, got killed. She was a Hebrew teacher, and we became, my family and their family became family for many, many years. And I want to dedicate this meditation to her blessed memory, and to all of those who died that tragic day. And I call it the meditation today, finding equanimity in the moment of distress. And I want to come to this teaching with total honesty and transparency. I wrestle a lot with this. This is not something that comes easy to me, because I believe that there is a place for moral outrage and anger. And having said that, as Claudia Creighman, in her wisdom, one of the daughters of Susie, was saying yesterday in a dialogue, hatred and violence doesn't get you anywhere, but just to more hatred and more violence. So I want to dwell a little bit in part of the conversation that we were having yesterday. I'm sure, by the way, the conversation is on Facebook, so you can watch it. We taped it yesterday evening. To bring all of us to that place of equanimity. In Hebrew, there is a word for that, hishtavut. It's a kind of peace of mind. Is to be sitting, to say Shiviti Adonai Legnedi Tamid, I'm bringing some theological terms here. It's to say, okay, I have God in front of me all the time. And to be sitting with a peace of mind, knowing that there is something beyond and above the story that I'm experiencing in this moment. Heschel used to say there is meaning beyond absurdity. But it's very, very difficult to be in touch with this when we are in the middle of pain and the middle of suffering. And that's where spiritual work kicks in. And we all have our own challenges. We all face with pain, with suffering, with illness, or what a dear and beloved teacher Parker Palmer calls it the tragic gap. When we stand suffering in front of the tragedy of the world and the aspiration that we have for the world, we are completely overwhelmed by the distance between the two. We are completely overwhelmed by hatred, violence, racism, poaching of animals, destruction of the environment, you name it. There's so much, and so much that is in this moment is coming up clearly to surface, how much we are in the tragic gap between what is and what it could be. So Parker also says that in front of that disparity and that tension, that paradox, we could succumb into what he called corrosive cynicism or despair. Everything will be always like that. And on the other side, that could be the sin that many of us who are in the spiritual world could fall into, is irrelevant idealism. And both sides of that paradox lead to the same, which is paralysis. If things are always going to be they are, why to do anything? And irrelevant idealism. We talk about peace, but we are not willing to do anything about it. So the question is, how do we live in that tragic gap, or how do we live in the face of tragedy, like the tragedy of the AMIA 24 years ago, or any other tragedy which is personal or collective of the society. And I believe that at the center of that, I don't want to say the word resolution, because a paradox, you don't resolve a paradox. And this is something that goes against the culture. You know, many times people tell me about the meditations. What are the results? What are the results? And this is not about pragmatism. This is not about bottom lines. The paradox is something that we learn how to manage, not how to resolve it, as Barker says also. So equanimity in this regard is when we find a place in the center and we are holding the contradictions and we don't fall apart. And by holding the dark side, that we all have the dark side, and holding the bright side, we find in some place in the middle a call to action. A call to action. For me, two sides of the paradox that I live in is the need for silence, the need for mindfulness, for meditation, and the need also for community. And the bridge between the two for me is nature, to be in nature. But the activation outside of the paradox has to do necessarily with some point of action. When we know that we are not going to resolve maybe a specific thing, but we choose to be part of the solution. And we are among the people who decide to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. To help to bend the arc towards justice, to peace, to kindness. So let's try to dwell a little bit in our own paradoxes, in our own places of tension, in our own contradictions, in the places that we feel that we could break, but not only because of something that happens outside, but a mirror. That's a mirror to what happens inside, where we are looking at things that maybe makes us ashamed of ourselves. When we can look at our generosity, but also to our greed. When we look at the desire to change the world, to fix the world, and also our complacency. So I invite you to take a deep breath with me. And just pay attention to your breathing. Neshima Mukha, deep in-breath. The mind is going to wander off because this is what the mind does. That's the job of the mind. And we come back again and again to our trusted anchor, the breath. The breathing that connects all of us human beings, animals, and the plants. Nature, the oceans, the clouds. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe pay attention to the expansion of your belly when you breathe in and breathe out. And just stay there in silence with me. And the mind is going to invite us to make a judgment. Maybe to go to the place of cynicism, sarcasm, any default mode that we have. And don't judge it, just look at it. Pay attention to whatever comes up without engaging. And coming back to the present. Here and now, you and me. And this Hineni exercise in saying, here I am. Everything that is in me is here and present. We come back again and again to our trusted anchor. And I'm going to invite all of us to allow a paradox in which we're standing in this moment in our lives to come up to the surface. For some will be the tension between security and freedom. For others will be between passivity and activity. Others will be between hiding and showing. You name it. We are all standing, always, in some type of paradox, where two aspects of ourselves are in tension, and they keep us stuck in a place that becomes a personal tragic gap. between what it is and what could be. So pay attention to whatever emerges. When I ask the question, what is your paradox? And don't judge it. Don't create a story. Do not engage with the feelings that looking at this generates. Just pay attention to whatever emerges. Visualize the paradox that you're standing on like a rope. One side of the rope pulls you in one direction. The other side pulls you on the other direction, and you're standing in the middle. What is, at this moment of your life, your most excruciating paradox? And knowing that we are not going to resolve this paradox, maybe we can embrace that we can manage it better. Allow yourself to visualize something that is very, very small that you can do to move the needle a little bit to make this paradox more manageable. And do not engage, just look at it. Just pay attention. And stay with whatever comes up for you that you can actually do. To move yourself in the direction of doing something. Visualize yourself. How do you feel without engaging with the feeling? How do you feel when you see yourself doing that you believe you can do? Getting out of the narrative of a victim that is trapped in the tension of the paradox. Paying attention to the tensions that we are standing on in our lives, help us to take ownership and not to blame somebody else for our own suffering. And that's the first step towards liberation. Paying attention is huge. We pay attention to our paradox, the tension that is keeping us stuck, and the first step towards some movement. Paying attention to what is with total and absolute honesty, and visualizing the first step is an heroic act towards changing the narrative. The Song of the Sea in the Torah and the Bible, after the Israelites cross the Sea of Reeds, escaping from slavery, they sing this beautiful song of liberation, and there is a sacred phrase: Ozi vezimra diava ye'ili lishua. You are my strength, and my song is my deliverance. Or others would translate, and you are my deliverance. It's a sacred phrase for strength. We all need a song for strength in moments of moving the needle in the stuckness of our paradox. This is Ozi vezimrat ya vayehili lishua. I will sing it a few times. If you can sing with me, if not, la 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 is perfectly okay. Ozi vezimrat ya vayehili lishua. 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 Ozi vezimrat ya vayehili Yeshua. Ozi וזמרדיה ויהי לי לישועה. עוזי בזמרדיה ויהי לי לישועה. Ya ra 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 ya, ay ay ya, ya ya ya, ya ya, ya ra 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 ya, ya ya ya, ya ya ya. Ya 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 ra 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 ya, ya ya ya, ya ya ya, ya 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 ra 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 ya, ya ya. Boker Tov, and we will continue with more meditations next week. I hope that everybody has a good day and you can touch a little bit of the equanimity that you're looking for in your life.